Hello, and today we've got former Motherwell captain and current St Mirren fullback, Richard Tait. Hi Richard, how are you doing today?
Not bad, Angus, mate. Thanks. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, it's great having you on. Thanks for coming on. Let's start off. What was your first memory? Was it where you grew up in Yetton, or was it when you went down to Manchester?
I think my first football memory is probably playing for Kelso. Kelso boys I played for.
hmm
When you used to play, it was basically seven-a-side. I never actually played 11-a-side football when I lived in Scotland. So that would be my earliest memory, is probably playing for Kelso. And then when I moved down to Manchester when I was 11, that's when I started playing 11-a-side football for a team called Curzon Ashton.
Mm. Were you always a fullback?
No, I actually started playing off in midfield, centre midfield, and then I went back to centre back when I played for Curzon Ashton. So I played that position quite a while.
Mm. What was your first professional game? Can you remember your debut?
My first professional match would have been, it would have been for a team called Tamworth in the conference. That would have been my first professional game. I'd played non-league football for Curzon Ashton when I was 16. So that was my
hmm
first men's introduction to men's football. But my first professional game would have been for a team called Tamworth
Yep.
in the conference, and I think it was against Stevenage actually. Stevenage, yeah, it would have been.
Did you keep a clean sheet?
We drew one each. It was a
What are
it
the
was a good goal.
Alright, okay. What are the best and worst kits you've ever worn?
Worst kit is probably a Tamworth one. It was like a light blue away kit. It was hideous. I didn't like wearing that kit that much. And the best kit I probably wore, possibly yesterday, is probably one of the nicest kits. It was the away top for St Mirren, black and red stripes. It is. But one that would probably rival that as well is the Grimsby Town one we wore in the playoff final. So we'd wore a kit all season, and then we got to the playoff final, and we wore the kit that we were going to wear in the next season in the playoff final. I'd say that's probably the nicest kit we wore. It was a black and white stripes, black shorts, red socks. But I think it was more the fit of the kit
Yep.
rather than the
hmm
look of it. I mean, because when I obviously first started playing, kits were quite baggy,
Yep.
and now they're really like quite tight and slimline, so they look a little bit better now.
Yeah. Who's staying on topic of kits? Who's the best player you swap shirts with? You obviously played at Old Trafford against Man United. Did you get a shirt from that game? Or?
I got two actually. We played them home and away. I didn't really get the best players. It was one of them where the kit man kind of just flung all the Man United shirts
Yeah.
on the change room floor and was basically a free for all picking one. So I ended up picking up bloody Marouane Fellaini's and Daley Blin's. So out of all the superstars I could have got, they were kind of the average players in that team, so we say. But the best kit I probably got is an Everton kit. I swapped kits with James McFadden when he played at Everton. We played
Yeah.
him in the FA Cup,
hmm
and I played directly against him, and I got his shirt after the game. So it was nice actually. I asked him for the shirt, and he actually said, "What, you actually want this shirt?" And I was like, "Yeah, mate. Yeah, like you're a Scottish legend. Of course I want that shirt." And then when I joined Motherwell,
hmm
he actually said to me, "Oh, I played against you in the FA Cup when you played for Tamworth," and so it was nice of him to actually remember that. It was good.
Yeah. Who's the best teammate you've had?
Best teammate. Oh, I'd probably have to say Liam Grimshaw. Probably just because he's one of my best buddies. You know what I mean?
hmm
It was a pleasure going into work every day with him, just having a good laugh, and we were glued together when I was at Motherwell. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If someone seen me, then Grimmy would be there. If they seen Grimmy, then I wouldn't be far away from him. So I'd probably have to say Liam Grimshaw was my best teammate. Yeah.
Who'd say the best ability wise, that sort of thing?
Best ability wise, I'd probably say I've played with quite a few players who are really good ability.
Hmm.
Davy Turnbull at Motherwell,
Yeah.
he's got really good ability. I think he gets a lot of the headlines for that team
Hmm.
in terms of being obviously a really good player. A lad that goes under the radar for them, and I think is their best player by quite a way, is Alan Campbell. He's been in the side for 3-4 years now, and he's been
Yeah.
so consistent. And for his age, just the way he carries himself as well, I think he's such a professional boy, and
Hmm.
everything's dedicated towards football and trying to get better. And I'll probably have to give it to him. St Mirren are similar. They've got some really good young players. One who's really impressed me since being there is Jamie McGrath, midfielder, Irish boy. I think he's got a real bright future in the game. He's a fantastic football player, and it's nice to watch him in training. He makes football look so easy. Well, much more easy than I make it look. Anyway, that's for sure.
Chris Cadden said Campbell as well.
Yeah, Campbell's a man. I think he'll go to the top. I think. I hope he does anyway, because
Yeah.
he does deserve it. Like I said to you, every minute in the day is dedicated to how he's going to get better at football and
Hmm.
what he can do to be better. So I'd love nothing more than to see little Al go all the way to the top.
Who's the worst teammate you've had for playing pranks and stitching you up, that sort of thing?
Worst teammate? Oh, um, I wouldn't probably say it was a teammate, but it was probably a collective of boys. When I was at Nottingham Forest, it was probably the dressing room, in terms of your clothes would be getting tied in bloody knots with tape, and things would go missing. You were fearful to put anything down just in case they came back and it wasn't there. Nowadays, nothing like that really happens. Charles done when I was at Motherwell. I cycled into training one day. Okay, so I got this bike and I cycled into training,
Okay.
and it was brand new. It was a nice bike. I don't know why I decided to do it, but I just decided to do that. Right, so cycled into training, locked my bike up against one of the railings in the stadium. Came back to it later in that afternoon. No wheels. I had no wheels on. So I was like, what is going on here? Like, absolutely fuming. Went back into the change room. Wheels were hanging from the ceiling. And the red mist descended. I was fuming. I wasn't happy. Went up to the gym, and it was Big Charles Dunn was hiding from me at the time. He did it, but he made the mistake. I only knew it was him because he made the mistake that morning, saying that when he was younger, he used to nick bike tires. In London, he used to go about and nick the tires off the bike. So that's the only reason I knew it was him.
But he needs to cover up his tracks better.
He don't, well, yeah, he shouldn't have told me that in the first place, but I'm glad he did, because I
Yeah.
wouldn't have known who it was.
Hmm.
No one would have admitted it.
You've played at Wembley, you've played at Old Trafford, you played at Hampden, and you played at the mighty Tynecastle. What's the best stadium you've played in?
The best stadium is, for stadium architecture and the inside of the stadium, is probably Wembley. That was awesome. That was a great place to play. But I'd say the best stadium for me, just for being there, has got to be Old Trafford.
Yeah.
I've supported Man United since I was a little boy. Watched all the Champions League games. I say that because when I was in the tunnel before that game, I can just picture myself watching a Champions League match. You know how they used to
Yeah.
show the camera down the tunnel. It brought me back to that memory when I was stood in the tunnel. So Old Trafford's got to be the best stadium, just for the fact that it was the team I supported and it was full. I think if Wembley was full when we played, it would have probably been the best. But Old Trafford, there was 75,000 people there, and a lot of them that I'd went to high school with, a lot of people who support Man United and who were
Yeah.
at that game. So that was quite special. Yeah.
Who's the best manager you've had?
Best manager is probably a guy. Best man manager, I'd say, is a guy called Gary Mills. When I was at Tamworth, he gave me the opportunity. I got released from Nottingham Forest, went straight to Tamworth, and he just gave me a platform to go and play. And he was brilliant for me. Like, he'd make you feel like you were the best player in the world, even if you had the worst game. And he just filled you with confidence. He was one of those guys that his training wasn't the best. It was always fun. It was quite old school because, he'd played in the Nottingham Forest team with Brian Clough as the manager. So his training style was old school, but as a man manager and making you feel the best player ever, I'd probably have to say it would be Gary Mills, yeah.
Mm. What's the best goal you've scored? You obviously scored against Livingston the first game of the season, but what would you say has been your best goal?
My best goal? I should know this because there isn't that many, is there? Probably my best goal was a couple I scored for Tamworth. 2 headers, actually. I played centre mid that game, and it was against York. I actually scored a hat-trick in this game, right? But the one that would have been the best goal, it got disallowed.
Oh.
I know. So I scored 2 headers, but then one of the boys was dribbling with the ball. He overran it, and the boys tackled him, but he's followed through on the lad. And as he's followed through, the ref's just blown the whistle as I've hit the ball with the left foot. It went straight in the top corner. Would have been a hat-trick, but it got disallowed. So I'd probably say the goal what wasn't to be was probably the best goal I've scored.
Yeah, we'll count it.
Yeah, we'll keep that one in there.
Yeah. What's been your worst performance on the football pitch?
Worst performance? Probably quite a recent one. I was out the team quite a lot last year when I was at Motherwell. Came back in. I think a lot of people don't realise this, but obviously you train every day and you train hard. I'm quite a fit guy. But when you're out the team and you've not played for a long time, it's just a different type of fitness. And it was probably against St Johnstone. I never had the greatest of games that day. What was his name? Kennedy, plays for Aberdeen now.
Yeah.
He went by me quite a few times that day, and it wasn't very, very pleasant. But I'd like to think I've never really had a massive nightmare on the football pitch, touch wood. I'm always pretty consistent, so I would probably say that game just for the fact that he went by me probably one more time than I would have liked him to.
Did you get subbed off, or did you manage to last the full 90?
No, I managed to last the full 90, but that's probably because there was no other fullbacks on the bench other
Lucky
than
that.
me. Yeah, pretty lucky, yeah.
What was the last game you played?
The last game was yesterday.
Yeah.
I played against Hamilton, away to Hamilton. It was an okay game. The AstroTurf always kind of spoils it, doesn't it? First half we played really well. Did what we needed to do. Got ahead. Probably should have buried the game in the first half and been 3 or 4 up. We had good opportunities to be out of sight, really. And then the second half was a completely different story. We kind of just sat in and soaked up the pressure a little bit too much. There was a few opportunities where we caught them on the counter and we probably should have scored again to kill the game, but we managed to hang on for the 1-0, and manager said before the game, find a way to win, and then we did. It was good 3 points in the end.
I saw a few of your fans managed to get a bit of a view of the game.
Yeah, for any other fans who are actually thinking about going to the Hamilton game, there's a Morrison's just like.
Yeah.
Have you been before?
Yeah, I've been to Hamilton before. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big Morrison's there, but it sounded like it's higher up than the stadium, so
yeah,
you can go to the back of Morrison's and watch the game if you want to make the trip.
Just finally, when was the last time you had to pay for a ticket to go to a football match?
Oh, the last time I had to pay for a ticket? Probably when I was at school. School used to get tickets for Man United games. We used to get on the minibus and go to the game. So I'd probably say, I tell a lie. I watched Leyton Orient in the FA Trophy final because a couple of my ex-teammates were playing. And it's one of those things as a football player, you hate asking for tickets. Like, you could get them, but I know personally when people ask me for tickets, it's like I think people just think you get unlimited amount of tickets to give to who
Mhm.
you want, but you don't. And that week leading up to a game like that, you don't want the hassle of people. You don't want to hassle the lads before they're trying to play a game. So me and my girlfriend and another ex-teammate and his girlfriend went to the Leyton Orient game, but we just ended up buying tickets because I didn't want to pester Clay and Josh to get us tickets before the game. So it would have been Leyton Orient. I forget who they played, but it was in the FA Trophy. They got beat 1-0.
Fair enough. Right, that wraps it up. It's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you.
Thanks, Angus, mate. Thanks for having me.